Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wilde, and hey, we're adventuring off into the spaces between. I hope you guys are having just a fantastic day, and yeah, it's a good day, right? Um, so I rearrange things, and you know how you rearrange things, and you're like, oh, hey, this will be great. It'll be awesome, and you do a test on everything, and everything's awesome, and it's fantastic, and then you push the button to go live and suddenly you're like, maybe it's not as awesome as you thought it was. Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. So let's see how this works. Anyways, I'm just going to keep talking and pretend that it's actually doing the thing until it does. We're just going to go. But so yeah, irony here. Um, Today I wanted to talk about we are the sum of all things, right? We're the sum of our experiences, we're the sum of our past, we are the sum of everything that we've experienced before us. And sometimes that is easier said than done, right? Because our lives are often fraught with peril and adventure. And when I say adventure, for those of you who know me, um, that adventure could be good adventures, and that adventure could be bad adventure. It could just be adventure, right? And sometimes that adventure can be joyous and inspirational and fantastic. Yes? And we always want those adventures to be just fantastic, right? Because we do. And sometimes we have no control over how the adventure goes. A friend of mine came to visit a couple of years back, and I can't believe it's been a couple of years already. Oh, my stars. Anyways, because road tripping across the country is an adventure all by itself when you're driving, who wants to drive by themselves? I mean, seriously. And so they they rode or carpooled with friends, and um, the carpool was great, but one had a therapy dog, and the therapy dog was supposed to be just this top of the line, well trained, fantastic dog, right? Um, Unfortunately, this was not the case. I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down here, but this well trained, aged, mature therapy dog was a puppy. And boy, howdy, was this puppy not ready to be loose in the world of insanity and chaos. And sadly, he needed his own therapy dog. And yeah, yeah, as I was saying about things that are kind of an adventure, I must laugh. For if I do not, well, you know, I must cry. Because you know what? Yes, I must. um, yeah, apparently I had a small Windows update. Um, and just that quick, the windows are updated, and away we go. Because, yes, that is just the way we roll. And we are now updated. Oh, my stars. That is just too funny. I was just talking about adventures, was I not? And the ability to just kind of roll with the things that are happening, correct? Because, yeah, sometimes you just need to do the. You just have to be able to roll with them, right? Because, yes, and that is the way of it. Ah, yes. So, deep cleansing breath. And I'm just going to laugh. I'm laughing. All right, so where was I? Oh, yes, that's what it was. I was talking about adventures. And so, my friend, I came to visit, and they had this dog, and the dog was not as ready for the road trip and the visit as everybody was hoping that he would be, and sadly that's just the way of it, and oh my, um sorry, too much light, and I'm not wearing any makeup, and I'm sorry, the switch is tired. Oh, there we go. So there we go. Tired witch. We're gonna just leave the hair down, cover the face up, no makeup. Anyways, so with that being said, the poor pupper, he needed a break just as much as the owners did, and he got it. And it's because I know where the pet lodges are, and yep, he got the break. And sometimes we all just need the break, right? We all do. And sorry, I'm playing with my things. It's the joys of moving around. So as you can see, I now have a bunk bed in the back room. So yes, adventures, and because we've moved around, so adventures. So instead of having the blame being put on the pupper or anything like that, because it wasn't his fault, the poor guy. It was 100% on the person who sold the therapy dog, and that is absolutely not the owner's fault. It is the breeder's fault and the trainer's fault. And what happened is we put him in a boarding kennel so he could take a break from the people. And the people went to a hotel, and we barbecued, and we went for walks on the lake beach, and everybody just kind of decompressed and took a breather. And you know what? That was just a good thing. We all needed it, and it was good. And sometimes we all need to take that break and breathe, because we all need it. Oh, there we go. I have a light. I'm trying to figure out what it is. See, the other space, I was all set up and everything was good to go, and whoa, yeah. And you can see I've got stuff in the background. I'm not done in here because I have to do the things. Because I get twitchy and I have to change things. So yeah. So we are the sum of the things, some of our experiences and our choices and our parts. And in the show description, I state that we are the sum of our of everything, and sometimes that's why we have to do the shadow work and the therapy. And I'm so not joking, because you know what? sometimes, oh gosh, nope, need those. Oh, just different ones maybe. We need to do the therapy and the shadow work. If we don't do the therapy, the shadow work is not as effective. So, for those of you who have not ever heard of shadow work, because I know that some of you have not, so real quick, what? I'm just going to look it up, see what the Google says nowadays. What is shadow work? And it's amazing. Once upon a time, when I first started doing YouTube shows and such, there really wasn't much out there. And so much has changed. So shadow work, according to the Dr. Google and the AI overviews, which make me smile a lot now, is a therapeutic process focused on bringing unconscious, often negative aspects of the self into conscious awareness to promote healing and integration. It involves exploring and understanding repressed or disowned parts of one's personality, often labeled as the shadow self, to foster self-acceptance and personal growth. Okay. So what does that mean? The shadow self? People are like, yeah, what is that? Is that the part of me I ignore? Kind of. The little voice inside of you? Sort of. It's a Jungian concept, Carl Jung, for those of you who are kind of wondering. So it's the hidden unconscious aspect of an individual's personality that are often repressed or denied due to societal norms, personal experiences, or maybe upbringing. And that can be emotions like anger, jealousy, resentment, or other things that you might just kind of shove down and ignore because of one reason or another. Sometimes it's a sibling thing. Sometimes it's a parental thing because they don't approve or want you to focus on this thing. You might see it a lot in parents that have super high expectations of a child to perform well in sports or academics or one part of a thing, to the point where they deny involvement in another thing. For instance, my dad, oddly, was supposed to perform extraordinarily well in academics with a little bit of activity in things like FFA, that's like Future Farmers of America. And he was not supposed to participate at all in athletics because my grandparents, especially my grandmother, was very matriarchal. She was like the leader of our family. Just a real short powerhouse of a woman. And so my dad did not participate in sports, even though it was this huge desire for him. He really, 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 really wanted to. And then when he became an adult, he was in softball or as an adult, and ended up getting an injury at one point. And it was one of those things. But in high school, he really felt he missed out. But he suppressed that part of himself and never really acknowledged it, and then played in as an adult because that was just a thing. And he was in a bowling league even. And it was just a thing. And but it was very repressed. So it was just interesting. And then the shadow self is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can just represent the parts of yourself that is undeveloped or underdeveloped, and just needs a little bit of nurturing and attention. So think of it as if your garden. I use a lot of garden analogies, honestly, or plants. You have potted plants in your house, and you have one that just isn't doing as well. Sorry, my hair is just in my way. And maybe it needs a little fertilizer, a little water, or a bit of different soil. Maybe it's one you haven't had before and you just don't know what the dealio is. Like me personally, I have problems with aloe plants. Stupid easy to grow. I mean, you just water them occasionally, you give them the right soil, and they should be fine, right? I have problems with aloe plants. I don't know why. I've tried repeatedly. I have one now. I am hoping really, really muchly that it grows white. Right. I just have a problem with aloe. I don't know why. So benefits with shadow work are things like increased self awareness. You can help become. You have more self acceptance, especially with your emotions, improved emotional regulation. Your relationships with others are stronger, and you have a greater personal freedom. You're like, oh wow, I accept myself, and then because I accept myself, I don't have to worry so much about others accepting me, and so I'm okay with you not accepting me, and it's a lot easier. And often when I am talking to those who are looking for counseling or therapy, or shadow work or whatever, and I'm working with them, I strongly recommend therapy in conjunction with shadow work, not one or the other. Oh, that really is bothering me. Sorry. Because, yes, they go hand in hand. You have to have both. You cannot just do one or the other. Okay, you can do therapy without shadow work. I mean, people have been doing it for hundreds of years. Um, but shadow work does best with therapy. Because if you're not working on the things that cause the shadow work to happen or the need for shadow work to happen, um, it won't be as effective. So I'm just saying. So it is a therapeutic process, but without the therapeutic processes happening at the same time, the shadow work is not as effective. So how do you do shadow work? Self-reflection, journaling, mindfulness, meditation, and professional guidance. Journaling prompts, those are good too, but I'm just saying shadow work's really important. So, oh my stars, silly computer. I'm telling you, computer updates, even when you program the computer to do them at a certain time, deep cleansing breath. Computer updates, I'm telling you. I use the AI because I think it's amusing, but computer updates are. So, some of our experiences. What does that mean? Well, a person's identity, personality, and understanding of the world is very much shaped by the cumulative experiences, both positive and negative. And we're continuously developing who we are. We never reach a point in our lives where we're like, oh, this is who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. There are a few exceptions. I'm speaking to like overarching the whole, and the ones that do stick in that one box, and that's it. This is who I am. Those are generally massive, major health crises, and they're that way because they're that way, and that's something else entirely. Now, because we are constantly changing, we're constantly receiving new input, and we're constantly encountering new ideas and new things. Um, it's not just the people we're around, but also the words that we read, the music that we listen to, the news that we hear. Um, it's all of it. So um, when we are going to be looking or diving down deeper into what does it mean, we need to really address the way our brains operate and self-talk. So, when we look at our entertainment, for example, a lot of our entertainment, we look at the TV or the computers or our phones, and our entertainment is in live color. It's in bold print. It's very active. It's going, and it's often interactive. Press to continue, or change the channel, or hey, flashy colors and lights and this and that, and everything's active and active and active. And that's what our eyes are taking in, right? Our brains, however, often take all of that in material and stuff, and they're like, ooh, flashy lights. Whoa, what am I taking? What's the most important thing, right? Our brains are often like, okay, flashy lights, too much. What's the basics here? And our brains will often take all of that material and they'll turn it into black and white, and they'll take out all of the sound, and they'll take out all of the color and all of the dopamine fixes, because, oh, dopamine, oh, that was great in the moment. But they'll take the experience itself, turn it black and white without the emotion, and you're just left with the words or the experience, black and white, positive or negative. And that's what it is. The experience is like, this is the experience, black and white, positive or negative. Sometimes neutral, positive, negative, or neutral. And that's how it's categorized. And this is why often it takes 10 positive things to counteract one negative thing. Because one negative thing is often like big and huge, right? And it goes into the negative box. And there's a lot of negative stuff out there. If you think about it, look at the news, right? It's all negative. So it's big negative, right? Going in the negative box, and it's like getting bigger and bigger and bigger and fuller and fuller and fuller. And the positive box is like, oh, look at this little positive thing. Isn't that cute? It goes in the positive box. And it keeps going in there. But on the level or the scale, the negative box weighs a lot more. The positive box weighs a lot less. And so there's a lot of work that has to go into putting stuff into the positive box to overcome the negative box. And the neutral box is just kind of there, and nobody knows what to do with it. So it kind of gets ignored after a while, and it's just kind of fluff and forgotten. So when we are reading books, when we are watching TV, when we're discussing things with our friends and our family and our neighbors and our coworkers, are things that we are listening to and speaking negative or positive? And it really comes down to that negative, positive, ones and zeros, really, truly. So if we are speaking negative things, we're just building up that negative box. That includes things like gossip, talking about the negative things going on out in the world, the negative things at home, the negative things at work, the negative things in our family, the negative things at the coffee shop, the gas station, in our community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that negative box fills up faster, right? And it overflows and it spreads, and it becomes like this contagion, and it spreads all over. Or we go to the positive box and we start adding things to the positive box. And the more stuff we put in the positive box, guess what? The more positive we see in the world. And the bigger that positive box is, the more it spreads, and suddenly we become a light of hope in the world, and that positive box begins to overflow, and we spread that positive aspect or that positive energy around, and we become that positive energy in the world, and that spreads instead like a contagion. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather be a person of positivity out in the world. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge the negativity, because if you don't acknowledge the negativity and you just run around being positive all the time, people are going to be like, what is wrong with you? Because you can't. You need to know that there's some shit out there so that you can prepare for it. I'm just saying, don't wallow in it. Because the things that happen that are negative, they teach us things, right? But we need to focus on the lesson, not the negative aspect. So if you go outside in December here in North Idaho, you're just wearing a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and flip-flops, you're going to be cold. And if you stay out there, there's a good chance you're going to get frostbite. The lesson is, it's cold outside in December and you should put clothes on and be dressed appropriately. And that's the lesson. You wear appropriate clothing, right? Not that it's cold in Idaho. That's not a negative thing. It's just that's the way it is. So you can either deal with the situation and learn from it and move on and find the positive, or you don't and you wallow in the negative. So some things just are, and you have to, how are you going to compensate? Or are you going to just look for the negative? So I guess you could say some people are problem solvers and they find solutions for every problem. And some people are problem finders and they find problems for every solution. And I know which group I'd rather be in. It doesn't matter if I'm at work or at home or at play or just out in the community or at the end of the world, whatever you want to look at it. I'd rather be with the problem solvers than the problem finders. And problem finders have a place, yes. They're the ones that are probably going to find the hole in the dam, but the ones that are going to fix it are the problem solution or problem finders or problem solvers, excuse me. Because they're the ones who are going to figure out how to fix it. Now, I mean, there's a balance, yes, but so who are you going to be? Are you going to be the solver or the finder? So when we say we are the sum of our choices, the individual's idea, the life path, identity, and all that, it's an idea, of course, that's been attributed to Albert Camus. He's a philosopher, and it just it highlights the concept that choices, big, small, etc., have consequences and contribute to the formation of who we are in our entirety. And it suggests that our decisions, rather than external factors, are the primary drivers of our personal development and the circumstances that we encounter. So, breaking that down, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It is how we respond to the circumstance that tells us who we are. So two people are standing out in the rain and it's miserable. One is dancing and one is just muttering, oh, I hate the rain, I hate the rain. Who's having a better experience? They're both in the rain. They're both getting wet, but one's having a great time and one's being miserable. Which one's having a better time of it? And who's dealing with the consequences of standing out in the rain better? Well, the one having fun. I'd rather jump on the puddles too, thank you very much. I mean, if I have to be out in the rain, I mean, pick one. And it's not just a philosophical statement. I do have words, right? But it's a reminder, a practical reminder that we have the ability, the agency, if you will, to shape our lives through the choices that we make. We can choose the people we hang out with. We can choose where we work. We can choose the way we drive. We can choose how we respond to a situation. We can choose all of these things. We have control of who we are at our very core. So when we stop and look back and we're like, I was abused as a kid and I grew up homeless or I grew up without food. I get it. Food scarcity was kind of a big thing growing up for me. I wasn't homeless, but there were some issues. Totally understand. And how did I adapt as an adult? Well, I have to have a full pantry now. Is my pantry always full of the things that are the best things for me? No. But that's how I have adapted as an adult. So that's how I've chosen to adapt and deal with that food scarcity situation as an adult. And that's the choice I've made now. I was pretty much able to do anything I wanted. I was not supervised. I was left unattended a lot as a child growing up. Why I didn't get into trouble more, I don't know. I really don't know. And looking back, I had so many opportunities for mischief. Not just a little mischief, but I mean like grand mischief and illegal behaviors. I mean, really, there should have been a lot more mischief. Um, a lot more. And but I didn't. I had a firm belief in right and wrong. Part of it, I read a lot of books. I had a different understanding of the world than a lot of people my age. Maybe that was it. Excuse me. And so I chose not to. I had a very firm grasp of responsibility. Maybe that's what it was. And so I chose to make a different path. And, you know, if I were to go back and redo it, I don't know. Would I choose something different? Couldn't tell you. Um, am I pretty okay with who I am today? Yeah. Took me some therapy to get there. So, I don't know. I tried to be that example to my own family. It's like, hey, life was an adventure as growing up, but I'm pretty okay with who I am now. Would I change anything about who I was growing up and any of the decisions I've made? Once upon a time, I thought maybe I would have, but even now, no, I don't think I would. I don't think I would change anything. And why is that? Well, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I'm pretty okay with who I am. Am I excited about all of the things that came out? No. Are there some lessons I wish I could have learned a little faster? Yes. Or differently? Yeah. But that's it. So, some of our experiences. What's that mean? Well, we have a dynamic identity, right? As we grow, our experiences, past and future, continuously influence and reshape who we are, meaning that no one today is the same person they were yesterday or will be tomorrow. So we are that summary, and we are constantly changing. It's a fluid experience. Life is a fluid experience. Emotional and cognitive impact, well, those experiences, again, positive or negative, create the colors of our lives and contribute to the understanding of our place in the world. So, the person I was in my 20s probably would have liked me who I am today in my 50s, but I don't know that I would have liked who I was in my 20s. I probably, if I had met me in my 20s, I would have been like, grow up, man. You've got a lot to learn and not a lot of time to do it. There's other things you could be doing. Seriously. So investment in experiences then, so we only have so much time, right? Life is finite. I know there's a lot of advertising out there and stuff that is all about, how to lengthen life or how to make yourselves look younger or take this supplement to be healthier and eat healthier and do this, drink more water, etc., etc., etc. Well, you know what? Life is only this long. You only get so much time. Nobody gets out of life alive, right? We're all going to die sometime. So we should really invest in the experiences of our lives. Don't just sit on the couch and watch it go by. Focus on meaningful experiences rather than material possessions or stuff. Don't just watch somebody else play video games on TV or other people make YouTube videos. I mean, thanks for watching. I love you, but I mean, go for the walk in the park. Go volunteer at the animal shelter and pet the cats and cuddle the puppies. Go for a swim in the lake, go for a hike, go explore your local community. Be a tourist where you live and see the sights. Each of us in our own community has some fascinating places. There's a gentleman in Spokane, Washington, and he does the most fascinating little videos where he walks around and does these historical videos. They're not very long, and he talks about the history of each different locations. And they're fascinating. It's like, hey, do you know what happened here? It's like a zoo that happened in Spokane and the history of it. It started off with a bear, I think, or an elephant, and this is what happened here or that. And it's awesome. I mean, it's so cool. And I like watching it because, well, personally, I don't like going to Spokane. Mostly because I don't want to drive there. I don't like driving in Spokane. I just don't want to drive in Spokane. That's all. I like Sandpoint. It's my speed. It's great. So, but still, it's fantastic because you get to see the history of the community and how it developed over the years, and I love that kind of thing. It's so cool. Um, but do something like that. Each of us in our own communities has some sort of fantastic history, whether you're here in the United States or somewhere else abroad. We all have some sort of history, just right where we're at. How is your town founded? Go discover it. Go find out something fascinating about your community and learn about it. Go to your local library. Oh my stars, there's so much information in your local library. Take advantage of that. I mean, the way our world is evolving, that stuff's going to go away before you know it, and you should use it. So, that investment in experience, if you don't do it and go to it and do the things, you're going to miss out, man. And if you don't do the things and show your kids how to do the things, they're going to miss out. And then we're going to have a whole generation of kids that never experienced the things. And man, wouldn't that be just sad? I mean, just sad. And beyond that, there are some other aspects of, the sum of ourselves and some of our experience. There's some genetics and biology, because there is some genetic predispositions and physical structures of ourselves that, like, in our brains that allow for learning new skills or not, that contributes to who we are. Because some of us are more adaptable to learning new things than others. Some of us are more interested in learning new things than others. Not everybody wants to learn how to be a leather worker. Not everybody wants to go spin wool, or not everybody wants to go to an ironworks and make their own knife, for instance. Not everybody wants to do that thing. They'd rather watch it on TV, and I totally understand that. Kind of understand, because going to an ironworks or to a glass making shop, those kind of things are not for everybody, and I understand. I get it. But you can support those businesses just by buying their crafts, but you can also do other things. I mean, there are other things out there. And there are some other structures, other innate structures, there are some philosophical arguments, such as Immanuel Kant's, who proposes that humans possess innate frameworks for understanding the world before experience, meaning our minds are not just shaped by external events. Some of it is perhaps handed down by, like, DNA and modeling. So the way we are raised, for instance, if you take someone raised in the Southeast and brought them to the Northwest, are they going to learn the same way, and vice versa? And the answer to that is, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. There's a philosophical difference there, especially like when you start talking about religions and that kind of thing. Because within religions, there are some differences, right? And some will not learn some of those crafts or some of those things or experience some stuff. I will just say stuff. We'll leave it as stuff. Stuff is my broad word. Because they just don't, right? And then consciousness, so the philosophers and the therapists and the psychobabbles and the psychospeaks, they talk about consciousness all by itself. Is it a byproduct of genes? Is it an experience, or is it a fundamental aspect of our being? Is it just in our brains? Is it in our bellies or our hearts? That's been a concept or in discussion, for millennia. What is it and where did it come from? It's hard to say. I think it's a combination of everything. And I think it's tapped into the collective unconsciousness. That's why sometimes we just know things. And some people are more tapped into that than others. And then there is also the better view, or the more accurate view, is to view oneself as a whole rather than a collection of separate parts or experiences, and the process of dividing them up and categorizing them can lose that degree of truth. So instead of just being the arm and the leg and the head and the brain, we're all of a thing. So we're not just a human body, for instance. We are us, and we're not just a person on the team. We are a team, in other words. And so that because we are part of the whole, we're not just an individual piece, if you will. That means that that combined effect, our brain and our heart, our soul, our mind, all of our bits and pieces, and all of those experiences and all of the things have this synergy, if you will. And it's greater than the sum of their each individual effect. And so the energy of our whole being then is greater than just each one of those little parts. So it's fascinating, of course, if you stop and break it all apart and then try to put it all back together, break it all apart and put it all back together. I mean, like if you're making cookies, you've got all these different ingredients. Well, each one of the ingredients, they all have different tastes, right? They do. Taste them all individually. They're all a little different. Put them all together and mix them. Well, cookie dough tastes pretty good, right? But if you add the last ingredient, heat, applied appropriately, and you know what? You got a cookie that tastes pretty fantastic, and it lasts longer than just cookie dough. So, so that to me says that, sometimes the sum of our parts with the appropriate pressure or heat means we're better as a whole. So, I think collectively, if we look at ourselves, whether it's our experiences, our bits and our pieces, our experiences, the lessons we've learned, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever it is, we are all of those things, right? And because we are all of those things, we can't deny any one of those things, right? It's everything. And because it is everything, we can't deny any one part of those experiences. And since we can't deny any of those, we can't. It'd be foolish for us to deny any of them. Because if we were to miss out on any one step in our lives, would we be the same person? I don't know. Probably not. So if you look at yourself in the mirror right now, are you okay with who you are? Most of us are going to be, well, yeah, mostly. I'd like to change this or that, but mostly I'm okay. Mostly. Well, if you're mostly okay with who you are, that means that you're mostly okay with the sum of all your parts. And the rest of it is just fine tuning. That's making sure that you do the shadow work. You acknowledge the parts of you that you've had to ignore for whatever reason. So sometimes that means when you become a parent, what did you have to set down? Because often we do. I mean, it's just the way of life. We can't keep carrying the same things that we did before. We just cannot. It just doesn't work that way. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of things I put on hold when I became a parent. That was 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. Pretty crazy when I stop and think about it like that. Really, truly. And, you know, that's okay. And so if I am okay with that, and I am, it's just one more thing, you know. It's just one more thing. And at some point, I'm able to pick up those things again or reintegrate them into my life, maybe in a slightly different way. And you know what? That's okay too. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Um, you know, COVID kind of knocked me for a loop. I will have to admit that it really beat me up. And it's taken me a bit to get back to who I was before. But even then, I'm still not who I was before. I'm a different me. I'm a stronger me because I had to do some things differently. And I'm okay with that because I've learned some things about myself in the process, and that is absolutely okay. I mean, really, truly. And you know what? I like myself more now than I did before COVID. So I'm okay with that lesson, really. And if I keep growing the way I have in the next 3 years, 5 years, as I have in the last 3 to 5 years, I can't wait to see who I'm going to be in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. I'm a little nervous about Mini Me and how much bigger she's going to be. She's going to be bigger than I am. She's getting tall. I mean, like, she's this tall already. Oh my goodness. I'm not ready for that. But that's her journey. And I'm just here to support her on it, right? My granddaughter's that tall too. I think my grandson's almost there too, which is crazy. I have grandkids, and it's my job to support them on their journey to become who they are so they can become better and be the best sum of who they are, you know? And I guess that's where I'm going with all of this. If we're going to be the sum of all of our experiences and the sum of all of our parts, it's our responsibility to be the best that we can be of all of those bits and pieces. So sure, I could be sour grapes, but I'd really rather be a fine, fine wine. I guess that's my choice. So I'm going to be a problem solver instead of a problem finder. And what you guys choose to do is up to you too. So this is Paisley Wilde. Thanks for joining me here in the spaces between. This has been a Theology Thursday, complete with all the adventures that you can only find here in the spaces. And thanks for joining me. And I hope you guys have just a fantastic day. And we'll see you next time. Let's see if I can remember how to do all of this again. Now that I messed it up because the silly computer, I had to restart everything. Have a good one, you guys.